Hello, my friends, hello, and welcome once again to the dangerous Von Manor. Von Manor, where excitement never takes a holiday. Yes, today it's time to go through once again the books that time forgot. We're going through my entire library of books, most of which have been packed away for construction here at the manor that is now over. So now it's time to go through all the boxes and see what's in here. All my books, 2 boxes at a time. So yes, let's go through 2 more boxes today and see what treasures we uncover. Got a nice big box today. What do we got in here? Okay, first thing in this box, it's the personal memoirs of U.S. Grant. The personal memoirs of U.S. Grant. Yeah. I've got a Library of America volume of this as well that has his memoirs. So I don't know that I really need it. I don't know. I'll probably keep it anyway. At this point, it's looking like I'm keeping most of my stuff. This is an interesting one. Diet for a New America. How your food choices affect your health, happiness, and the future of life. On Earth Diet for a New America. Here we go. You know, I just tossed all these things in boxes. None of these books really go together. Because here's Persian Fire by Tom Holland. This is a really fun book where Tom Holland basically covers the Persian Wars, the ground that Herodotus covered before him. Tom Holland is a big fan of Herodotus. He eventually, after he finished this book, translated the histories. He did his own version of that. But this is a pretty good book, Persian Fire by Tom Holland. I like that one. What else do we have in here? Carter Beats the Devil. Carter Beats the Devil by Glenn David Gould. That's hanging out in here. Old Carter, who's beating the devil. And we've got the Time Traveler's Almanac. The Time Traveler's Almanac. This is edited by Anne and Jeff Vandermeer. They've edited some good anthologies, and this is one of them, the Time Traveler's Almanac. This is a fun book, all about time travel, good fun stuff. Everybody likes time travel. And it is Napoleon. This is the book by Emma Ludwig, translated by Eden and Cedar Pavel. Somebody got this as a birthday present in 1927. Happy birthday, April 10th, 1927, from your girls. And got all the girls there. I don't know who this is to though. They didn't put the person's name down. But it is Napoleon. Interesting stuff. What else do we have in here? This is an interesting book. This is A History of the Classical Greek World from 478 to 323 BC by P.J. Rhodes. They're going old school there, and they didn't use BCE, as is now proper. But there you go, A History of the Classical Greek World. I got lots of stuff like that. And then we have this one. This is The White Company by Arthur Conan Doyle with illustrations by N.C. Wyeth. So this is a pretty cool volume. I was actually pretty happy to have found this one. This was a birthday present in 1988 from Mark and Julie, but it wasn't to me. I got this book used, but it has some, that's just the end papers there. This has some good illustrations in it, and it's an excellent book. The White Company, if you haven't read it. Not sure why it isn't more of a classic, considering it's one of Arthur Conan Doyle's more popular books. Maybe just because it doesn't say Sherlock Holmes on it. I don't know. But it's a good book. Then we have the Oxford Illustrated History of Greece and the Hellenistic World. Right here. It's decent. This is a decent history. It's got some cool pictures and illustrations in it. It's a little thin. It's a little thin, this one. They did a magnificent history of Egypt, Oxford, from this series. I don't think the Greek volume is quite at that level. There are better Greek histories you can get. I could say the same for this one. This is the Oxford Illustrated History of the Roman World. Again, excellent illustrations. This one's better, I think, than the Greek one, but not as good as their volume on ancient Egypt. It does have some cool illustrations in it, cool photographs, decent maps. It's a good book to have. Again, it's not the best history you can get. And this is just, I guess I got this for $10. This is Alexander the Great at War. It's kind of just a coffee table type book about Alexander the Great. Not the best. It's a little thin, of course, because of the type of book it is. But it has some of the battles in there. Has a lot of cool illustrations. Here's a double pager right there. So, you know, it's fun. This is a fun Alexander the Great book. What else do we have? Oh, Lost to the West. The Forgotten Byzantine Empire that Rescued Western Civilization by Lars Brown Wirth. I'm not sure that the Byzantine Empire is actually forgotten, is it? Have we forgotten that empire? But it's this is an excellent book, I thought. Lost to the West. Now this is a magnificent book. This is Mythology by Alex Ross. And it's all about the great painter Alex Ross and his work on the DC characters. Really, really cool. Really, really cool stuff. You got his Batman right there looking great. So this is an awesome book. That's pretty cool. What else is in here? An old empty notebook. Okay, I might make use of that. What do we have here? Oh, this is a really beat up old copy of Moby Dick. Is it the Everman's Library? No, Modern Library. It's a Modern Library, Moby Dick. This is the copy that I first read Moby Dick in. Yeah. Beat the hell, this thing. Really tore up. But this is the volume that I first read Moby Dick in this Modern Library edition. Oh, and now we've got Baseball, a History. This is just 2 volumes. You got the American League and the National League. With lots of pretty pictures. American League, the National League, baseball. What else do I have in here? Oh, this is good stuff. I was wondering where this was, and here it is. Okay, the Magnificent Library of America. You know I love my Library of America. They came up with the coolest thing. Their coolest thing, possibly ever, was this. This is science fiction, 9 classic novels of the 1950s. And there are all the classic novels there. A lot of great stuff. This does have The Shrinking Man in there, Double Star, The Space Merchants, More Than Human. A lot of great stuff. And they've got the great 1960s paperback illustrations on here in these 2 volumes. You've got 1953 through 1956. And then we've got 5 classic novels, 1956 through 1958. And so these 2 volumes are just great. Got The Long Tomorrow by Leigh Brackett, A Case of Conscience by James Blish, Hugh by Algis Budrys, The Big Time by Fritz Leiber is in here. So what a great collection. These 2 volumes in a nice slipcase, so that's pretty cool. I was wondering where those went. And of course they followed that up with this great volume, American Science Fiction in the 1960s, with all those excellent books on here. Again, this one's pretty tight. If I can get the books out. There they go. So we got 1960 through 1966. We got The Way Station in here by Clifford D. Simak, The High Crusade by Paul Anderson, Flowers for Algernon by Daniel Keyes, and Call Me Conrad, This Immortal by Roger Zelazny. And this volume, 68 through 69, 4 classic novels, has Past Master by R.A. Lafferty, Picnic on Paradise by Joanna Russ, Nova by Samuel R. Delany, and Inferio by Jack Vance. I mean, come on. That is awesome. So, what a great set of 4 books. Don't know if they're going to be doing the 70s. Probably not is my guess, but you never know. I mean, I would totally buy it if they did it. So that was cool. That's good to find. I was wondering where those went. So that's 1 box. Let's do the second box. Okay, the adventure continues. Are you ready? He's got the spirit, this one. He's always dressing up for Christmas early over there, Roger. Man. Anyway, it's another comic book box full of books. So let's find out what's in the second box. Oh, awesome. It's Robert E. Howard's The Skull Face Omnibus. This is the paperback version from Panther Books. And of course it has the classic paperback Panther book covers. This is the first volume. It's split into 3 volumes, the Skull Face Omnibus. So we got the first volume there, which they just call Skull Face and Others, the first part of the omnibus. The Valley of the Worm is the second volume. And the third volume has this very skinny warrior in the Shadow Kingdom. That's, I know, I think old Cull there ought to go eat a sandwich or something because he's looking a little like he's fading away, this poor fella. But I've got 2 versions of that. I've got the paperback and I've got a hardback down here somewhere, which is another British reprint. I don't have the original Skullface Omnibus because it's way expensive. Put those down there. This is a cool book from Michael Grant. This is Myths of the Greeks and Romans by Michael Grant. This is an old copy. Yeah, this belonged to my mom, I think, and I inherited it. This is actually a really good book. Good book on mythology. We got Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut Jr. Slaughterhouse-Five, old paperback copy. Oh, here's Christopher Rocchio got split up. Here's Christopher Rocchio's first volume in the Sun Eater series, which I've mentioned, which I like an awful lot. It's a skinny one, the first one, compared to some of his other ones that have come out since. So The Empire of Silence was his debut. It was pretty good, this one. I don't think it was as good as the second one, but it's pretty good. It's a pretty good debut right here. So, The Empire of Silence. Fun science fiction book. Andrew Vachss. Andrew Vachss. This is Hard Candy. This is an old detective PI kind of hard-boiled thing, but Burke, the main character, this is Andrew Vachss' Burke series. He's an interesting guy, and this was an interesting series. Andrew Vachss did some good books. This is one of them. His debut in this series was called Flood, which I recommend. And if you read that and if you like Flood, I would recommend the others, including this one, Hard Candy. I must have those other books somewhere. What do we got here? Oh, an old Signet classic of the Red Badge of Courage and 4 Other Stories by Stephen Crane. Again, I've got all his stuff, I believe, in the Library of America. I think. I'd have to double check, but I know I have at least a volume or 2 of Stephen Crane, so I would imagine I have the Red Badge of Courage in there. So yeah, Stephen Crane, Red Badge of Courage, excellent book. Then we have Tess here of the D'Urbervilles. I can't pronounce anything. Tess of the D'Urbervilles by Thomas Harder. by Thomas Hardy. I can barely speak. Sorry, guys. Old paperback, Bantam Classics of this one. We got Collected Stories by O. Henry. I mean, you've got to have O. Henry. You have to have some O. Henry somewhere. Another Bantam Classic. And we have an old clearance copy of Winesburg, Ohio by Sherwood Anderson. This one was 50 cents. This book is worth more than 50 cents, so I was happy to get it. What do we have down here? Old beat up modern library copy of The Red and the Black by Stendhal. Yeah, it's got cat hair on it, I think. Ugh. It's a very old copy of The Red and the Black, which apparently my cat slept on. The best of the world's best books, Modern Library. They do publish some good stuff. And we have another paperback here. This is George Orwell's 1984. Is this a stupid tall paperback? It is. Why'd they make a stupid tall paperback of this? I hate tall paperbacks. But apparently they did that to this book for some reason, Signet Classics. What were you thinking? 1984 by George Orwell. Can't argue with the book, though. That's an awful good book. Then I've got this. This is Tros of Samothrace by Talbot Mundy. This is the only physical copy of Tros of Samothrace I've ever seen, and it's kind of crap. This is an early print-on-demand edition from blackmask.com, and the formatting is terrible. And I don't know, I haven't read through it, so I don't know how many errors they have in this old beat up thing that I found, but it is Tros of Samothrace. So until I get a better version, this is what I've got. An old blackmask.com. Ooh, now we're getting into some really fun stuff to close out this video. So this one I've recommended before. It is Anne and Jeff Vandermeer's best anthology, probably. I haven't read their science fiction one, but it'd be hard to top The Weird. This book is just so weird. It really lives up to its title. This is weird fiction, horror fiction. Great stuff in here. It's huge. It's all double columned. It goes on forever. So much weird stuff is in this book. The Weird. The Weird. It's a good book. Excellent anthology. This is a really excellent anthology, and I was really happy that to find this. This is one of Otto Penzler's big books. This is the Big Book of Adventure Stories. It's the right thing for today, the Big Book of Adventure Stories. A lot of pulpy stuff in here. You've got, I think it was the first story of the Cisco Kid, if you remember the Cisco Kid was in here. This has a whole novel in here of Tarzan. Has Tarzan the Terrible from Edgar Rice Burroughs. Has a ton of stuff in here. Conan's in here. Everybody's in here. This is an amazing anthology. If you can find it, buy it. Don't even think about it. Just buy it. I can say that about a lot of Otto Penzler's big books. They're wonderful, and this is wonderful. And this is a really wonderful one. This is the Vampire Archives, another Otto Penzler. It's not officially a big book, I guess, because you didn't call it that. But it is a big book. This is the Vampire Archive. Forward by Kim Newman. Preface by Neil Gaiman. Stories by Anne Rice, Stephen King, H.P. Lovecraft, Harlan Ellison. I mean, there's just so much good stuff in this book. It's amazing. Has Carmilla, of course. Every good anthology for vampires has to have Carmilla. And this is the biggest vampire anthology I've ever seen. It probably is the biggest one that exists in printed form anyway. It's amazing. It's amazing. It's amazing. Now, to close out this box is another Penzler, which I have in hardback. I think a lot of the big books were not published in hardback, but this one was, and this is the Big Book of Sherlock Holmes Stories. Now, this is all pastiche. These are all stories by other people other than Sir Arthur Conan Doyle about Sherlock Holmes. I have not read it. Don't know if it's any good. I will read it one of these days. I say that a lot about a lot of books that I own. So I will read it one of these days. Excellent stuff, I'm sure. Otto Penzler never steers you wrong, man. He has some good stuff. So yeah, those are the 2 boxes today for the books that time forgot. Doubtless I will do this again next week. I hope the rest of your day is full of joy and happiness. I will see you here next time.